This week's episode is brought to you with the support of Bureau Veritas.
At Bureau Veritas, each and every one of us is by your side to help you navigate your decarbonisation journey and shape a better maritime world.
This is Green Seas, the podcast by Tradewinds about sustainability and the business of the ocean. I'm Eric Priante Martin, and today we're talking about harnessing the power of the ocean to make green fuels. This is a video I recorded a few months back on my phone as I stood on a beach in northern Chile, watching the sun set over the Pacific. Even on this placid piece of coast, you can hear the constant churning energy of the ocean. How can we harness that to power a world hungry for zero-emissions energy? Today we're going to talk to the leaders of one project aiming to do just that. SwitcH2, a company that aims to build floating production units that will pump out green hydrogen and green ammonia, has teamed up with CorPower Ocean, which makes systems that turn the power of waves into energy we can use. SwitcH2 is planning to build a floating production and storage unit, or FPSO, that will produce green ammonia off the coast of Portugal. It will have an electrolyzer on deck that produces green fuel from renewable energy, including solar and wind. And CorPower's wave energy system will add the power of the ocean into that mix. CorPower Commercial Director Kevin Rabinius said his company was looking for large-scale projects that need the base load stability that wave power provides, compared to more variable solar and wind power.
So there we see a great challenge to do that with only traditional renewable sources like solar and wind. So there we see wave can have a great contribution and value of adding that stabilizing piece to the mix. So I think green hydrogen, green ammonia is a great example of that, where you're looking for that optimal mix to make sure that you have or the opportunity to get a high utilization rate on the electrolyzer, basically.
SwitcH2 is backed by BW Offshore and Dutch Ocean's Capital, and the company is looking to do in the green fuel sector what BW Offshore did in oil and gas. It wants to develop SPSO projects that deliver energy from offshore. Its green ammonia producing FPSO would have a 300 megawatt electrolysis plant, and the fuel would be shuttled ashore by ammonia carriers, potentially for use as a shipping fuel. Bob Rietveld is technical director and co-founder of SwitcH2, and he told me that the planned FPSO is an example of a solution that can turn renewable energy into a form that's transportable. After all, some places have more renewable resources than they have demand for, and other places have the demand, but not enough renewable energy that can be produced economically.
So you need to bring that to other areas, and then you need to transport that electricity. And that cannot be done by the grid. You cannot transport from West Africa or Portugal to Rotterdam by grid. You need to do it in a form which is still renewable, and that could be hydrogen. If you have a pipeline network to actually bring that to the mainland, like we have in the North Sea, it's very logical to make hydrogen. But on other areas where you don't have that infrastructure, you would actually then convert to ammonia, which is something which has already been done for 40 years and transported around the world.
And he said harnessing wave power allows the use of renewable energy all day long, without the need to turn to fossil fuels when the wind's not blowing or the sun is down. Converting to ammonia also deals with the problem of electricity grid congestion. In a way, Portugal brought the two companies together. CorPower Ocean was working on a demonstration project off the country's coast, and SwitcH2 was looking at Portuguese waters for its FPSO.
Their solution would fit very well around our FPSO, like an array of wave energy converter systems like you would have a wind farm. It actually is the same setup and the same principle to feed a large-scale power towards our unit.
SwitcH2 won't just build the FPSO, it's aiming to bring the whole project to fruition by signing agreements with renewable energy providers and forging offtake deals with buyers of the ammonia.
A project like this, and then that includes, of course, CorPower Ocean's wave energy as well, becomes a bankable offshore project, which is financed in the ways offshore projects has all been financed. And we are now down the road 3 years in the development, and next year is our final year on the development side. And we are aiming to take what we call financial investment decision by the end of 2025. And then there is a 4-year construction program and testing and installation program. So first production on the location for the green ammonia would be from 2029 onwards. And that would, I think, coincide very well with what we see happening in the market on the supply and demand situation for green ammonia or green hydrogen, is that imbalance starts to be quite significant.
This project, Rietveld told me, isn't a dream. It's becoming reality, hopefully very soon. The fact that the project will produce green ammonia rather than hydrogen helps. While hydrogen is still finding its place as a clean fuel, ammonia has an existing market already, with 185 million tons of the chemical transported around the world in ammonia carriers today. Mostly, that's for the fertilizer industry.
So that is the first market that needs to decarbonize. But then we see the potential for ammonia as shipping fuel, say from 2030 onwards, and already ship owners are ordering ships with so-called dual fuel engines. They will run on LPG at the beginning, but the intent is to switch to green fuels later on because the engines are able to take that. And that's commercial applications which already started. So they are actually already piling up the orders at the shipyards for those ships that can actually run on ammonia. And that would, if we look at the volumes, would 6 times, say, increase the market of green ammonia. So if you just imagine that 185 million tons per year, our unit produces 0.2 million tons per year. So you could see what the volume actually looks like in that market already, but especially when we look towards the huge world market for shipping fuel. It's enormous.
And for both companies, Portugal is a great place to start plugging wave energy into Europe's efforts to decarbonize.
It's a great wave resource, and also you have a great wind resource as well, and Portugal is really kind of building out that industry, setting targets for both wave. I believe it's 200 megawatts by 2030, and I think offshore wind is like 10 gigawatts or something like that. So it kind of plays into also the EU's directive there around renewable fuels of non-biological origin, where you have to take in consideration that, you know, geographical correlation, the hourly matching, and also additionality. So this is something that we see is coming into play over the next couple of years. I mean, right now, the renewable part of the grid in Portugal is quite high, but this is also a challenge going forward for these large-scale installations that we see, where you really need to have new types of renewable installations coming online to meet this demand.
For more on sustainability and shipping, visit tradewindsnews.com/sustainability. And for the Green Seas newsletter, visit tinyurl.com/greenseas. Music for this episode is by Alex Grohl, Sergio Prosperini, and Curry Lomamont on Pixabay.